Alright, well, hello everyone, welcome to Unity Cheat Codes, and today I'll be starting the course on my platformer. First thing I'm going to do is the layout, since this is for beginners, and I just want people to be able to keep up and see what I see to make it easier. So I like to put my hierarchy at the left here, next to the inspector. And then I also like to take my project files, and I put it left here, and I drag it all the way. I am struggling a little. There we go. One row column. Put it like that. So my console's here, the files are here. I just find this easier. You can have it however you want. I just don't really need all the space taken up by my files. My hierarchy is right next to the inspector. I just find it easier to press on something, edit it right there. I also like to put my game on the right. Again, you can do these things exactly as how you want, but this is more or less as how I have it. And then of course I also have any animation. I have my animation window open, which I put next to my console. And in window, animation, I have my animator window, which I also have next to the animation. I just find it easier working with things all at the same time, instead of only seeing one thing at a time. And for anyone wondering, this is the 2021 version. You can see it up here. Yeah, so let's get started. Alright, so things might look a little bit different. All it is I just selected in layouts, I selected my personal one. That is basically just what I just had. I just switched to my version, which is the exact same thing. It's just how I'm used to it. And I also hit the little game thingy. You can right click it and click collapse and it'll go away. Now my editors up here, if you're using older versions than 2021, like using 2020, they should be up here to the top left. And also I'm going to select at the free aspect, I'm going to select 2K because that's my monitor. If you're using 1080p, you select 1080p. If you're using any other weird resolution, you can always just add your own custom one. You can say aspect ratio, you just look up your monitor's aspect ratio. Yeah, all that stuff. That's not necessary though. So first thing we'll do is do files. I like to do my files at the start. I just feel like that's the most important get out of the way part. So first thing I'm going to make is a scripts folder. I'm going to make a prefabs folder. I will make a assets for like sprites and stuff. And yeah, in my scripts I like to right off the bat get the player folder done. And core, which is just stuff like camera stuff, scorekeeping stuff, just stuff that's system based, nothing to do with the player. We can rename the scene. We'll call it level 1. Reload. Just to get it out of the way for the future, because you don't want to reference it as sample scene every time. In your player, make a new script, call it player movement, or whatever you want to call it, it's up to you. In core, make a new script, call it, give Unity a second, game manager. For now, just let that load. Okay, and then we're going to make a 2D object, sprites square. We will call it player. We're going to make 2D sprites square. We're going to call it ground. And then in tags, we're just going to get this out of the way now. Make a new tag, call it ground. On ground, add it in here, player, put player on it. And then we're just going to make a empty game object. It's nothing going to be in there. It's just going to be called game manager. We're going to drag game manager on there, the script. We're going to tag it with game manager. This is just for in future, just getting things out of the way so don't have to worry about it again. Now your ground, take it however you want. You can also use the move tool. You can use QWE RTY to go for your tools. W is normally the moving tool, and T is normally the shaping tool, which you can also just use to move. This is probably my most used tool. Now I'll put this wherever you want for now. This is just to get it out of the way. Drag it up, make it big. You can also edit things in here instead, as you can see. So actually, let's do this instead. We put the positions reset, we move it down, and then all we do is we just drag the X till it's the size we want. Sweet. So now, let's go into the player. Let's change its color. Let's do a, it's gonna look weird, but a little bit of green. Let's go onto the ground, make it a, darkish brown color. And in the camera, let's change this color too. Let's make it a, there we go. I know the colors don't look great, but this is just to get it started, make it a little bit prettier. So on your player, firstly move him just somewhere, and then give it a rigid body 2D. Give him a box collider 2D. And then on the ground, give it a box collider 2D as well. Now on your player, drag in the player movement script. I'm just going to get this out of the way now. These are my preferred things. Put angular drag on 0. And put gravity scale on 4. I think that's more or less what I like. And now, open your player movement script. Hi, sorry. I forgot when I make a new program and open the script that my script editor takes a while. Alright, so in here, we're going to make a public float move speed. You could call this whatever you want. This is just the number for how fast your player moves. Public float jump height. This will just be the height your player jumps. And then private rigid body 2D. I like to call it RB. You'll see pretty much everyone calls it RB, so I'd say make it RB just so when you search up code and stuff, it's a little easier to just reference things. RB equals get component rigid body 2D, so it just gets the component of this game object, and that's the value. Update, and then float horizontal. Sorry, I'm struggling a little bit. Movement X equals input dot get access horizontal. So this is just stuff in Unity. It's just a value from -1 to 1, depending on if you're pressing left or right, which is A or D, or left arrow, right arrow. And then float movement Y equals input dot get access vertical. Again, exact same thing, except this time it'll be spacebar. And then RB dot velocity equals new vector 2 movement X times move speed, and then rb.velocity.y. You might be wondering why that's not jump height, otherwise it would constantly jump and just fly out of the screen. So if input.getKey down, so key is just a key on a keyboard, or button if you want, space, key code dot space. So all this is when a player presses spacebar, it says do this. RB dot velocity equals same thing, new vector 2. This time, keep the x as it is. So it'll just take the current x velocity, which would either be 0 or how fast you're moving, whatever. Just keep it the same. And then jump height. Beautiful. So now, if we go back into the editor, just saying this jump will constantly jump. You can infinitely jump. There's no limit, so it's not too good. Next video, I'll address that. So move speed, let's just make it something like 5. Jump height, let's try 15. Well, let's see what happens. Okay, so I fall, I can move left and right, and I can jump. Nice. Yes, this is my preferred jumping. You can of course adjust that. You can set the gravity to maybe 8. Doesn't falls really fast. I like 4 though. You can just make the jump height lower. You know, make the jump height really high. Increase your speed. So yeah, And if you quit this, the changes won't be there. So you can mess around and don't have to worry about losing changes. Anyways, hope you guys enjoyed. This was just a very simple tutorial. And the next one we'll go into limiting the jumping to 1 or maybe double jumping. Maybe introduce some platforms. Have a nice day.